The Vresh were an old and powerful species. Their bodies were covered in hard shells, and they had many legs that moved with perfect coordination. They had no kings, no leaders, and no differences. They all shared one mind. Every thought, every feeling, every decision was the same for all of them. This was their strength. This was how they had conquered many worlds. Then they met the humans. The Vresh had received signals from deep space. Strange voices, music, and images traveled across the stars. The Hive Mind decided to send an emissary to investigate. The Vresh did not understand what they found. The humans were loud, chaotic, and disorganized. They argued with each other. They spoke in different voices, often at the same time. It was impossible to tell who was in charge. To the Vresh, this was madness. Commander Ziharka was chosen to meet with the humans. He was not an individual, but a voice of the Hive Mind. He stepped aboard the human ship, the UNS Endeavor, and faced the human delegation. The human leader, Captain Ryan Carter, extended a hand. Ziharka did not understand the gesture, but he had studied human customs. He reached out one of his clawed limbs and touched the captain's hand. The human smiled. "Welcome, Commander Ziharka," Captain Carter said. Ziharka did not respond immediately. He did not understand why this human smiled. It seemed unnecessary. But the Hive Mind decided that politeness was important in human interactions. "We accept your welcome," Ziharka said. Beside the captain stood Ambassador Laura Smith and Lieutenant Jason Bell. The ambassador was an expert in diplomacy, and the lieutenant was there to ensure safety. The Vresh emissary did not understand why they were needed. The Hive Mind had one voice, one decision. The humans had many voices, and sometimes they disagreed. This was strange. The meeting room was filled with light. The walls were made of metal, smooth and cold. A large table stood in the center, with chairs placed around it. The humans sat down, and Ziharka copied their movement, though his body was not made for sitting. The Hive Minds studied their faces, their movements, their voices. Ambassador Smith spoke first. "We are honored to meet your people. We wish to learn more about you and find a way for us to live in peace." Ziharka tilted his head. "We do not understand how your people function. You have no single mind. How do you make decisions?" Captain Carter chuckled. "Sometimes, not very well. We argue, we disagree, but in the end, we find a way. We believe that different ideas make us stronger." This confused Ziharka. In the Hive Mind, there was no argument. Every Vresh knew what must be done. There were no different ideas. There was only one truth. "This seems inefficient," Ziharka said. "If you do not think as one, how do you survive?" Lieutenant Bell leaned forward. "We survive because we think differently. Some of us solve problems in ways others do not expect. We have leaders, but we also question them. We have rules, but we also break them when necessary. We are strong because we change." Ziharka did not respond. The Hive Mind analyzed these words. The humans were unpredictable. They were unorganized. They had no control. And yet, they had built great cities, strong ships, and powerful weapons. They had spread across the stars. They had survived wars, disasters, and even their own mistakes. The Hive Mind did not understand. The meeting continued. The humans asked about the Vresh homeworld, their culture, their way of life. Ziharka explained that there was no culture, no art, no leaders. The Hive Mind was everything. Every Vresh lived for the same purpose. Every Vresh obeyed the same thoughts. There was no need for change, because everything was already perfect. Captain Carter frowned. "No art, no music, no stories. We do not need these things," Ziharka said. "They serve no purpose." The captain shook his head. "They give us purpose. They inspire us. They make us human." Ziharka felt something strange. The Hive Mind felt uncertain. This was rare. The Vresh had always believed that their way was the best. But these humans, with all their chaos and disagreement, had something different, something that could not be understood through logic alone. The meeting ended, but the questions remained. As Zharka returned to his ship, the hive mind continued to process what it had learned. The humans did not have a hive mind, but somehow they were strong, and that was something the Vresh could not ignore. Zharka sat in his ship, thinking about the humans. The hive mind processed everything he had seen and heard. The humans were not like any other species the Vresh had met. They did not have one mind. They argued and disagreed, yet they worked together. It was confusing. The queen of the Vresh hive mind sent a message. "What have you learned?" she asked. Zharka answered, "The humans are strange. They do not think as one, but they are strong. They build great ships and travel far. They do not follow one leader, but many." The queen did not understand. How can they survive if they are not united? "I do not know," Zharka said, "but they do." The hive mind decided to test the humans. A small fleet of Vresh ships was sent to the edge of human space. They did not attack, only watched. The humans reacted quickly. They sent their own ships to face the Vresh. They did not wait for orders from one mind. Each human captain made their own decision. Some moved forward, some held back, some sent messages to others. It was not chaos. It was something else. The Vresh ships returned with their report. The hive mind studied the human reaction. It was not what they expected. The humans did not act as one, but they acted with purpose. They did not need one mind to tell them what to do. They figured it out on their own. The queen sent another message to Zharka. "We will test them further," she said. "We will push into their space and see how they respond." Zharka was uncertain. They are not weak. They are different. If we attack, they will fight. Then we will learn their limits, the queen said. A Vresh fleet moved deeper into human space. The humans responded quickly again. A meeting was called on the UNS Endeavour. Captain Carter, Ambassador Smith, and Lieutenant Bell sat in the room. The reports came in. The Vresh were on the move. "They are testing us," Lieutenant Bell said. "They want to see how we react." Captain Carter nodded. "Then we give them an answer. We show them we are not weak." The fleet was prepared. Human ships gathered together, but they did not wait for one command. Each ship had a captain, and each captain made choices. Some moved forward to scout. Others stayed back to protect. They shared information, but they did not need a single leader to control them all. The Vresh fleet arrived. The hive mind expected the humans to be slow, to be confused. But the humans moved fast. They reacted in ways the Vresh did not understand. When one ship was attacked, another came to help. When a Vresh ship tried to retreat, the humans did not chase it blindly. They planned, they adapted. The Vresh had never faced an enemy like this. Zharka watched the battle unfold. He felt something new. Uncertainty. For the first time, he questioned the hive mind. The humans were strong, but not because of one mind. They were strong because they could think in different ways. One captain saw a trap. Another saw a way around it. One soldier fought with discipline. Another fought with instinct. They were not the same, but together they won. The Vresh fleet retreated. The queen was silent for a long time. She had never seen the hive lose before. "They are dangerous," she said. "They are unpredictable." "They are strong," Zharka said. "Not because they are one, but because they are many." The hive mind had always believed that one mind was the only way to be powerful. But now, they had met a species that proved otherwise. The humans did not have a hive mind. They had something different, something the Vresh did not understand yet. And that made them a threat. The Battle of Kepler 4 was over, but the humans did not celebrate. They knew this was only the beginning. The Vresh had tested them, and now they would return in greater numbers. Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge of the UNS Endeavour, looking at the damage to their fleet. Ships had been lost, and many lives had been taken. But the humans had won, and that meant something. Ambassador Laura Smith and Lieutenant Jason Bell joined him. "They will come back," Bell said. "And next time, they will not just test us. They will try to destroy us. We need to be ready," Smith added. "We need to understand them better." Carter nodded. "Then we go to them before they come to us. We need to find out what they fear." The human fleet regrouped and prepared to move toward fresh space. It was a risk, but they had no choice. They needed to show the Vresh that humanity was not weak. They needed to prove that humans would not back down. Ziharka watched the humans from his ship. The Hive Mind was troubled. The humans had fought in ways the Vresh did not expect. They were not weak, but they were not like the Vresh. They did not have one mind, yet they acted with purpose. This was dangerous. The Queen sent a message to Ziharka. "The humans do not submit. They must be destroyed." Ziharka hesitated. He had fought humans. He had seen their ways. He was beginning to question the Hive Mind. He had always believed that one mind was the strongest way. But the humans did not have one mind, and yet they had won. The human fleet moved closer to Vresh space. They sent messages, but the Vresh did not respond. The Hive Mind was silent. Then, without warning, a new Vresh fleet appeared. It was much larger than before. The Queen had sent her strongest forces. The battle was about to begin. Carter ordered the ships into position. The humans did not move as one, but they moved with strategy. Each captain made their own choices. Some ships stayed back, others moved fast. The Vresh attacked in perfect formation, but the humans fought in their own way. They adapted. They changed their plans. They were unpredictable. The battle was fierce. Lasers and missiles filled the space between the two fleets. The Vresh fought with precision, but the humans fought with creativity. One human ship pretended to be damaged, drawing in Vresh attackers, only to launch a surprise counterattack. Another ship used debris as cover, striking when the Vresh least expected. Ziharka watched in awe. The humans were not following one order. They were all thinking, all making choices. The Hive Mind could not understand this. Ziharka began to wonder, was this their true strength? The Vresh fleet began to fall apart. Their perfect formation was useless against the chaos of the human attack. One by one, their ships were destroyed. The Queen felt fear for the first time. She had never known defeat. She had always believed that the Hive Mind was perfect, but now she saw that it had limits. Ziharka made a decision. He sent a message to the humans. "I wish to speak." On the Endeavor, Carter received the message. He looked at his crew. "Do we trust them?" "We have to take the chance," Smith said. "If they are willing to talk, it means they are beginning to understand." Carter agreed. The message was sent. A meeting was arranged. The battle was over, but the war was not. The humans had shown their strength, but the Vresh still did not fully understand them. And until they did, peace was not yet possible. The meeting between humans and the Vresh was arranged on a neutral station near the edge of human space. Captain Ryan Carter, Ambassador Laura Smith, and Lieutenant Jason Bell stepped into the bright, metal hall where the Vresh delegation waited. Ziharka stood at the front, his hard shell reflecting the station lights. Behind him were two other Vresh, silent and unmoving. The Hive Mind was watching through them. This meeting was important. Carter took a deep breath. "Thank you for coming. We hope we can find a way to avoid more battles." Ziharka's voice was calm. "The Hive Mind wishes to understand. You do not have one mind. You argue. You disagree. How do you function?" Ambassador Smith smiled. "That is our strength. We think differently. We come up with different ideas. If one of us makes a mistake, another can see it and correct it. That makes us stronger." The Hive Mind considered her words. Ziharka tilted his head. "The Hive does not make mistakes. We act as one. We follow the same path. There is no need to correct anything." Lieutenant Bell leaned forward. "But what if the path is wrong?" If one of us is wrong, we change direction. We learn. We grow. How do you grow if you never change? Ziharka did not respond right away. The hive mind was thinking. It had never been asked this question before. For a long time, the Vresh had believed that one mind was the only way to be strong. But the humans had defeated them twice. Their way was working. Change brings disorder, Ziharka said finally. It brings conflict. Conflict weakens. Captain Carter shook his head. No, conflict makes us stronger. We argue, but we find answers. We fight, but we learn how to make peace. If we never change, we stay the same forever. We stop growing. Ziharka thought about this. The hive mind had always believed that change was dangerous. But the humans had changed many times. They had built great ships, traveled far, and fought strong enemies. And yet, they still survived. They still grew. What do you wish from us? Ziharka asked. Ambassador Smith folded her hands. We want peace. We want to learn from each other. You do not need to think like us, but you must understand that we will never be like you. We will never be one mind. But that does not mean we must be enemies. The hive mind was silent. The Vresh had always believed that other species were weak because they were divided. But the humans were not weak. They were strong in a way the hive mind could not understand. Ziharka finally spoke. The hive mind will consider your words. It was not an agreement. It was not peace. But it was the first step. And for the humans, that was enough for now. The hive mind was silent for many hours after the meeting. Ziharka stood in his ship, feeling the weight of the decision ahead. The humans had shown strength, but not in the way the Vresh had expected. They did not act as one. They did not follow a single path. Yet they had survived, and they had won battles against the hive. The queen finally sent a message to Ziharka. We do not understand these humans. They do not have one mind, yet they succeed. This is dangerous. We must decide what to do. Ziharka thought carefully. The old way of the Vresh was to destroy anything that could be a threat. That was the way of the hive mind. But now, Ziharka was not sure. The humans had spoken of learning, of growing. Could the Vresh learn from them? Could they grow? We must not rush, Ziharka replied. We should watch the humans more. If we attack, they will fight back. If we talk, we might learn more. The queen was silent again. The hive mind was not used to hesitation. It was not used to change. But this was different. The humans were different. Meanwhile, on the U.S. Endeavour, Captain Ryan Carter and Ambassador Laura Smith waited for a response. They knew the Vresh were not like humans. They knew the hive mind worked in its own way. But they also knew that Ziharka was different from the others. He was thinking, questioning. Lieutenant Jason Bell watched the scanners. No movement from their ships, he said. They are waiting. Then we wait too, Carter said. Let them think. Let them decide. We will not make the first move. Time passed. Hours turned into days. The Vresh fleet stayed where it was. No attacks, no messages. The humans did not know what would happen next. Some in the human fleet wanted to strike first. Others wanted to leave. But Carter and Smith held their ground. Then, finally, a message came from Ziharka. We wish to speak again. Hope flickered among the humans. It was not peace yet, but it was a step forward. Carter nodded. We will meet again. The humans prepared for the next meeting, knowing that the future of their two species depended on what would happen next. The second meeting was arranged in the same neutral station. This time, the air was heavier with tension. Both sides knew that what happened here could decide the future of their species. Captain Ryan Carter, Ambassador Laura Smith, and Lieutenant Jason Bell walked into the meeting hall. Ziharka stood in the same place as before, his two Vresh guards silent beside him. The hive mind was watching through them, thinking, waiting. Carter took a deep breath and spoke first. You wanted to speak again. That means you have more questions. Ziharka's voice was steady. The hive mind has discussed. The humans are strong, but not because of unity. You say your strength is in your differences. We do not understand how this does not create weakness. Ambassador Smith smiled slightly. It does create weakness sometimes, but it also creates new ideas. When different minds think in different ways, they find new solutions. When one way fails, another might succeed. Ziharka tilted his head. You argue, you fight, yet you continue forward. The hive mind has one path, and it does not change. We have always believed this is the only way to be strong. But you have defeated us. You do not follow one path, yet you are strong. The hive mind does not understand this. Lieutenant Bell crossed his arms. Maybe strength is not just about control. Maybe it is about choice. We do not always agree, but we make choices. That is what makes us different. Ziharka was silent for a moment. The hive mind processed this new idea. It had always believed that one mind was perfect, that control was the key to survival. But now, that belief was shaking. The hive mind fears change, Ziharka admitted. Change brings disorder. Disorder weakens the hive. Carter nodded. Change is hard. It can be painful. But it is also necessary. Without change, we do not grow. We do not become better. Ziharka looked at the two Vresh beside him. They did not question. They did not think for themselves. They simply followed the hive mind. And for the first time, Ziharka wondered if that was truly the best way. We will return to the hive mind with this discussion, Ziharka finally said. We will think on these words, but we are not ready for peace yet. Smith nodded. That is enough for now. We will wait. The Vresh left the meeting hall without another word. The humans watched them go, knowing that something had changed. It was not peace yet, but the door had been opened. And sometimes that was the most important step of all. Time passed after the second meeting. The humans and the Vresh did not fight, but they did not yet trust each other. The hive mind was thinking, questioning what it had always believed. On the UNS Endeavour, Captain Ryan Carter and his crew waited. They did not know if the Vresh would return as friends or as enemies. Ambassador Laura Smith spent her time preparing messages of peace, hoping they would listen. Lieutenant Jason Bell trained the soldiers, knowing that hope was not enough. Then one day, a message came. It was from Ziharka. The hive mind wishes to meet one more time. Carter and Smith looked at each other. This was unexpected. The Vresh had never asked for a meeting before. They had always responded, but now they were taking the first step. This could be a trap, Bell said. Or it could be the start of something new, Smith replied. We have to try. The humans traveled once again to the neutral station. When they arrived, they saw that Ziharka was not alone. More Vresh had come this time. There were 5 of them, all different in size and markings. This was strange. The hive mind had always spoken with one voice. Now it seemed to be listening to different parts of itself. Ziharka stepped forward. The hive mind has thought. It has considered your words. We do not fully understand your way, but we see that it has strength. The hive mind has never questioned itself before, but now it wonders if there is another way. Smith smiled. That is the first step. You do not need to be like us, but if you can see that different minds can still work together, then maybe there can be peace. The other Vresh looked at Ziharka, then at the humans. One of them spoke, something that had never happened before. If we are different, can we still be one? Carter nodded. You can. You can be one people, but not one mind. You can think for yourselves, but still stand together. The hive mind was silent. Then Ziharka spoke. This is new. It is strange. We will not change quickly, but we will try. The humans knew this was not a promise of peace. The Vresh would struggle with change. Some would fight it. But for the first time, there was hope. The meeting ended, but something new had begun. The humans left the station, knowing that the future was still uncertain. But they had done what no one thought was possible. They had made the fresh question their own nature. And sometimes, that was how peace began.